We begin the Gemara today on the bottom of Chof Aleph Amud Beis, 5 lines from the bottom. Tanu Rabbanon, we learned in the Braise, Oval, Gimel Yamim Marishainim. So an oval that is coming from a distant place, so he didn't know about what happened. So if he arrives within the first 3 days of the Avelos, so Bami Makim Karaiv, if he's coming from a close place, meaning he was close enough that he could have been there, but he just didn't know, and he came later. So if he's coming from a close place, Taisus here actually brings from the Halachas Gedalis, from one of the Ga'ainim, that it has to be within 10 parsa. Not sure how many miles that is, but within a certain distance that he's close enough that he could come. So then he comes within the first 3 days, Maine Iman. He counts the days of Avelis along with the other people, the other Avelim that were there. So they already, for example, counted 3 days of Avelis, and they're on the third day, and they only have to count another 5 days, including this third day. So then he's going to join them on their schedule. But if he came from a distant place, so then he's considered to be independent from them. Because he couldn't come, so he's not together with them, so he has to count for himself his own 7 days of Avelis.
It says here, 1 meal is 2,000 amah.
Okay.
10 pasta, which is equal to 40 meal.
So it's pretty far actually, 10 parsa. Okay, so this is a Tanakama. Rab Shimon says that even if he came on the 7th day of the Avelos, Mimokim Karaiv, he came from a close place, my name on, he counts along with them. Did I skip a line over here before Rab Shimon? I'm looking, I didn't skip anything? Okay, good. So Rab Shimon said that if he comes on the 7th day, so then, even if on the 7th day he came, but if he came from a place that's close enough, so then he can count together with them, right? The Tanakama said only within the first 3 days. Rab Shimon says it doesn't matter, even if you come on the 7th day. Oh Mamar, the Tanakama in this Braisa said, Gimel Yamim Marishainim, the first 3 days, Bami Makim Karev, if you came from a close place, my name Moem, you count together with the other Avelim that were there already and began the Shiva. Rab Chia Barab, Rab Yechanan. So he added to this and he explained that it depends. It's of a hu sheyesh godel habayis bebayis. That's only if the older person, there's let's say if it's brothers, if there's the oldest brother that was there in the house and he already began the shiva and you're joining the older one, so then you can count the shiva together with him. But let's say if it's the godel habayis that is arriving now, and the Avelim that were there before him, they're younger than him, they're not the prominent ones, the godel habayis, so then he doesn't join them. He can't be mitzdarif, he can't combine together with them. Adarabi, he's sort of the older one, he's the main oval, so therefore he has to count on his own. The question was asked, Holach godel habayis lebeis hakvoris. What happens if the oldest one in the house, he's the one that went together with the coffin all the way to the Beis HaKvaris, he traveled together with the coffin to go to bury. Right? In other words, not everyone went and joined all the way to the Beis HaKvaris. As we'll see soon in the Gemara, there was in some places the minig was, and even till today it's this way in some places, that not everybody goes together with the Aron to the Beis HaKvaris for the Kvura. So over here, all the Avelim remained in the city. And there's one person, Yerushalayim, it's this way, right? And just the Godel Habayis, let's say the oldest brother, he went to travel together with the coffin to go for the actual Kvura. Right, so now, what's the halacha? The one, we'll see soon in the Gemara explains this, the one that goes together with the Arain all the way to the Kvura, so he doesn't begin his Avelos until after the Kvura. That could be another few hours. It could even be another day. It could be another few days. Depends how far he's going for the Kvura. The people, though, that remain in the city, the younger brothers in this case that remain in the city, they begin the Avelos as soon as they turn back to go back home and they depart from the Orain, from the coffin, they have to begin the Avelos right away. So now the question is, Holach godel habayis lebeis hakvaris, the godel habayis went to the Beis HaKvaris Mahu. When does the oldest one that went to join to go to the Kvura, when does he begin his Avelos? So Rashi here explains, the question is regarding this godel habayis. Do we say that he begins his Avelos only after the Kvura? Because he's going with the guest, so therefore he has to start like the halacha is after the Kvura. Or do we say that no, because he's only going for the purpose, for the Kvura, but really the Avelos of everybody else is starting before. So in this case, he does start the Avelis before, like everybody else. He's doing this job. He's going to make sure that the Kvuda takes place properly. But really, the Avelis for everybody begins before. So in this case, the Gadol Abayis will begin the Avelis before. Tashema. So the Gemara brings it to what Rabbi Yechanan said. Omer Rabbi Barabe.
Isn't the Baal who a question of what he said before, who should yesh Gadol Abayis?
Yeah.
What's the connection now?
So now the question is, in this case, the Gadol Abayis is not, he should not start as Avelis yet. Before we said that the Gadol Abayis is in the house, and then everyone else comes and joins the Gadol Abayis, so then they follow the Avelis of the Gadol Abayis. If the Gadol Abayis is the one that's joining the people that are younger than him, then he has to start his own Avelis. Right? That's what we said before. Now the Gemara is asking, if that Gadol Abayis, if the reason why he's away is not stam because he was far away and away on his own, because he was busy traveling and he was just away from his home. Reason he went away is because he's going to the Kvuda, to make sure that the Kvuda should take place properly. Maybe in this case, the Gadol Abayis does join the Avelis of the people that are in the house. Because it's not like the Gemara before, we were stam traveling for no reason, for whatever other reason, not because of the Kvuda.
I thought we said before that the one who's coming is younger.
And Chanami, correct. And
so the third person, in other words, there's the house, there's the person coming, and the Gadol who went to the...
I hear. Let's go weiter. Sagt die Gemara, Toshemad, Omer Abchie Barabe, Omer Rabbi Yechanan. So Rabbi Yechanan said about this question, he said, Beferish, Afile, Holach, Gadol Abayis lebeis hakvaris. If the Gadol Abayis left them, and they separated, all the other brothers, for example, went back into the city, and he went to bury, but he went lebeis hakvaris, Mayne imohen. He counts the Avelos together with the brothers there in the city. Could be that the Kvuda is going to take place a few days later. And the people that remained in the city, they started counting their Avelis before. Because he's only leaving them for the purpose of the Kvuda itself, so over here, he does count together with the people that stayed in the city. The Gemara, is this halacha true? Mayne iman. In such a case, he actually counts together with the people that remain in the city. But Vatanya Nebraisa, we learned about this exact halacha that it says, Mayne la'atzmai, that he actually counts for himself, which means he only begins counting the Avelos after the Kvuda. Not before. Answers the Gemara, loy kashya. It's not a question. It depends when he comes back. If he went together with the coffin for the Kvuda and he returns within 3 days, so then we say that he joins the Avelis of those people that stayed in the city. If he traveled together with the coffin very far place, and by the time he came back, it's after 3 days of the beginning of their Avelos, then he can't join them. Then he has to start his own Avelis because it's already out of the 3 days. He has his own level of Avelis. And the Gemara brings, Ki hada amaluhu Rav livnei hatzalfaini. Rav said to the people of the Bnei Hatzalfaini, a name of a place, regarding this halacha, the asu begoit lasa. If there's one brother that went together with the coffin and he comes back within 3 days, so limnu ba'daichu, he'll count Avelis together with you. The loyasa begoit lasa, but if he doesn't return within 3 days, limnu lenafshayu. So then those that left, so they have to count for themselves. Amaluhu Rav elevnei Mechuze. Rav said to the people of Mechuze, Aton by you with the minig is the loyaz lisu basa arsa. You don't follow the coffin to the Beis HaKvares, and like you mentioned, until today, this is the minig in Yerushalayim. So when the Oren leaves the gate of the city and you turn back from the gate of the city to go back home, that's the time from when you begin counting the Avelos. Right? Mashenkin, a person that goes to the Beis HaKvares, the Avelos begins from after what's called Stima Sagailol, after the burial is done. Going back to the Braisa before, Rab Shimon Oimer, Afilo Baba Yom Hashvi Mimokim Karev Meineiman. Even if the oval that did not know and came late comes on the 7th day, as long as he came from a place that was close, he counts together with them. Amar Rab Chibar Gamda, Amar Rab Yesi, Ben Shol, Amar Rebbe, Uhu Shaba Umatzah Menachmen Atzlei. If he comes on the 7th day and he still finds the Avelim sitting, and there are people that are still Menachmen, the people consoling him or them are still there. But if he comes on the 7th day and the Nicham Avelim is done, I mean, it's Mikzah Sayem Kukule, right? So you don't have to sit Shiva a whole 7th day. So then he can't join them anymore. It's finished. By Ravanan, so regarding this halacha, Ravanan asked the question, Ninaru lamoid v'lo. How about if the menachmim, the people that are there on the seventh day to console, are still there? They sort of move their chairs to get up to leave. They're already like heading out the door, but they're still there. What's the halacha? Could this oval that just arrived join them or not? Teiko. So the Gemara doesn't answer this. Sagt the Gemara azay, Gemiri chavre de Rab Abba bar Chiya mi Rab Abba. The friend of Rab Abba bar Chiya learned from Rab Abba. And who is this? Umana Rab Zera. This is Rab Zera. He learned from Rab Zera, learned from Rab Abba. V'amrila, others say, chavre de Rab Zera mi Rab Zera, that the friend of Rab Zera learned from Rab Zera. Umana, who is Rab Zera's friend? Rab Abba. Reid Rab Chiya bar Abba. Rab Abba, the son of Rab Chiya bar Abba. That Rab Yechanan said as follows. Halacha Rab Shimon ben Gamliel betrefis. We paskin like Rab Shimon ben Gamliel regarding an argument that there was in a subject of trefis, which the Gemara will soon say what this is. And halacha Rab Shimon ba'avol. And we paskin like Rab Shimon regarding the din of avol, which we just said. Rab Shimon, the Gemara right away says ba'avol hadamaran. This machlekes that we just said, when an avol arrives late, that we paskin like Rab Shimon, that even if he arrived in the seventh day, he can join them. Rab Shimon Gamliel betrefis. We pass like Rab Shimon Gamliel regarding an argument of trefis, the Tanan, or it's supposed to be the Tanya. There's a Braisa that says, B'nei ma'ayim shenikfu, if the intestines of the animal was punctured, so if it has a puncture, so that's a trefa. The animal can't live for 12 months. But v'leichas is masan. But then there's this mucus from this intestines that came out, and it clogged up this puncture. So is that is that good enough that it should be kosher? Ksheira. So Rab Shimon Gamliel says yes, it's kosher. Divid Rab Shimon Gamliel. Gemara explains, my lecha, what is this mucus that covers this puncture? Amar Rav Kahana, shirke, the maye, the nokev, the nofak, agav duchke. There's this mucus from the intestines that comes out when you press it. This mucus will come out, and that clogs the puncture of these intestines. Okay, so now this is the halacha that was given over, that in this case, we paskin like Rab Shimon Gamliel. Amar Manduhu, one of the students that was there, that listened to this halacha said, Izaki, I should merit, ve'asik, and I should go up to Eretz Yisrael, ve'agmera l'shmaita mepumi demare. And I want to hear this halacha from the mouth of the master that said it. Kisalik, when he went to Eretz Yisrael, ashkechei l'Rab Abba b'reid Rab Chiya bar Abba. So the Gemara follows that second version we said before. So he encountered the source, the one that said this. Rab Abba b'reid Rab Chiya bar Abba. So he asked him, did you say that we pass like Rab Shimon Gamliel regarding treifis to be lenient? So he said to him, no, I said the opposite. I said the halacha is not like Rab Shimon Gamliel, that you have to be machmer. Now he asked him, Rab Shimon ba'avol mai, regarding Rab Shimon ba'avol, did you say that the halacha is like Rab Shimon regarding this halacha of avelis when an avol arrives late? Amalei plukten in. No, there's actually an argument whether we passing like Rab Shimon or not. The itma we learned. Rav Chisda Amar halacha. Rav Chisda said the halacha is like Rab Shimon. V'chein Amar Rab Yechanan halacha, that the halacha is like Rab Shimon. But Rav Nachman Amar ein halacha. Rav Nachman says we don't passing like Rab Shimon. We passing like the Tanakama. And the Gemara concludes regarding both of these arguments. Ve'ein halacha Rab Shimon Gamliel b'treifis. Regarding treifis, we do not pass in Rab Shimon Gamliel because this is a suffix minat Torah. We have to be machmer. So therefore, we pass like the Tanakama there. That's machmer that says that it is a treifa. But v'halacha Rab Shimon ba'avol. But regarding avelus, we pass like Rab Shimon, even though he's a yachid that's mekel. Mashmuel halacha kedivrei hamekel ba'avol. Regarding avelus, we always follow the lenient opinion. Dr. Gemara Vaiter here brings certain halachas regarding the avelus that there is on a father and a mother, and the difference between that avelus and the avelus that are on other relatives, not a father and a mother. Dr. Gemara al kol hamesim kulam, regarding other relatives that pass away, matchem itasai. So if you push out the coffin, meaning that you push it, that it should be buried immediately, areza meshubach. That's praiseworthy, to make sure that it's buried in the as quickly as possible. Al-aviv al-imay, regarding a father and a mother, hareza magunah, to just push out the coffin to be buried without a proper, dignified burial, which means with a hesped and so on, to give it the proper honor, so that's disgraceful. But hoya erev Shabbos, erev Yom Tif, if it was a Friday afternoon or an erev Yom Tif, so then you don't want it to be delayed till after Yom Tif or Shabbos, then hareza meshubach. So then if you're burying even a father and a mother quickly, that's praiseworthy. The fact that he's hurrying, he's rushing the levaya, the burial, that's only for the honor of a father and a mother. Another halacha, al kol ha'mesim kulan, regarding other relatives that pass away, ratza memayit be'eskoi, that so if he wants, he minimizes his business. Ratza, if he wants, ein memayit, he doesn't have to minimize his business. There's a machlokes in Mefarshim about what this means. Some Mefarshim say that the isser of a oval to do work is only actual labor, work. But business is allowed. But if you want, a person could do business on the time of Shiva. Others say that no, even business is not allowed. And when the Gemara here says that if you want, you don't have to be memayit, it's speaking about a business where there's a davar of financial loss. Then, if a person wants, he may continue doing his business. Regarding an avelus on a father and a mother, memayit, he must minimize and not do any business. Another distinction, al kol ha'mesim kulan, regarding other relatives that pass away, ratza chaylitz, if he wants, he tears kriya in such a way that he uncovers his shoulder. Ratza eina chaylitz, if he wants, he does not have to uncover his shoulder. Al avav alimay, regarding a father and a mother, chaylitz, he has to tear kriya that uncovers. Ma'isa begadol adayr echad shemeis aviv, there was an incident that happened with a great person in that generation. The Gemara will soon say who this was. And his father passed away. Ubikish lachleitz, and he wanted to tear kriya for his father and to uncover himself. Then ubikish gadol hader acher she'imay, there was another great person, a friend of his, that was together with him, so he also wanted to show a sign of mourning together with him. So ubikish acher she'imay lachleitz, he also wanted to tear kriya together with him and to uncover his shoulder. So the Gemara says, what happened? V'nimna v'loy chalatz. So this gadol hader, that his father passed away, held himself back and did not tear the kriya in such a way because he didn't want his friend to have to mourn in such a way together with him. So the Gemara says, who did this happen to? Amar Abaye said, gadol hader Rebbe. The gadol hader that his father passed away was Rebbe. Gadol hader she'imai, the gadol hader that was with him, that wanted to join him and also do the kriya with him, was Rabbi Yaakov Baracha. Others say that it was the reverse. Gadol hader, the great person that his father passed away, was Rabbi Yaakov Baracha. Gadol hader she'imai, the great person that was with him, that wanted to join him in kriya, was Rebbe. So the Gemara now says, Bishloim lamandama gadol hader she'imai Rebbe. It's well understood according to the opinion that says that the one that his father passed away was Rabbi Yaakov Baracha, and the one that was with him was Rebbe that wanted to join him in the kriya. So hainu denimna v'loy chalatz. We can understand why he did not want to tear kriya. He didn't want his friend to have to tear kriya, so he didn't want him to have to go through this disgrace. But according to the opinion that says Rabbi Yaakov Baracha, that Rabbi Yaakov Baracha was the one that was together with Rebbe, it was Rebbe's father that passed away. Why did Rebbe not want to tear kriya, and then Rabbi Yaakov Baracha would tear kriya with him? Who was Rebbe's father? Rebbe's father was Rab Shimon Gamliel and Nasi Ava. Rab Shimon Gamliel, he was the leader of all of the Yidden. And if so, v'kula alma mechayv v'lemechlatz. Everybody is obligated to tear kriya when a Nasi passes away. So why did Rebbe hold himself back from tearing kriya? Because he didn't want his friend Rabbi Yaakov Baracha to go and tear kriya with him. Adarabah, he should. It's his obligation to. The Nasi, his father was the Nasi. So the Gemara concludes Kashya. This remains a question. Another distinction regarding avelus on a father and a mother or other relatives. Al kol ha'mesim kulan, regarding any other relatives, mistapel achalamid yom. Person can take a haircut after 30 days. Al aviv al imay, regarding avelus on a father and mother, achi yigeru b'chaveirav. So one can't take a haircut until his friends scream at him and tell him, your hair is too long, take a haircut. Al kol ha'mesim kulan, regarding all other relatives that pass away, nichnas lebeis hasimcha. He's allowed to go into a house where there's a simcha, la'achalamed yom, after 30 days. Al aviv al imoy, but avelus on a father and a mother, la'achayud beis chaydish. He has to wait 12 months. So now the Gemara now explains, when it's said here, he goes into a house of a simcha. What kind of a simcha are we talking about? Amar Rabba bar Bachane, ul simchas meireyus. We're not talking about a simcha like a chasana and so on. We're just talking about a simcha where there are people that are getting together socially and they're having a meal, a festive meal together. But not a big simcha like a chasana. That's the kind of simcha that it said over here that he's allowed to go in after 30 days. Meisvei, the Gemara asks on this, in a Braise it says, Ulesimcha, Ulemireyos, Lamed Yom, that both for the simcha which means are a simcha of a chasana, and lemereyos, which is a simcha, which is not a simcha of a chasana, just people coming to eat together, lamed yaim, 30 days. So here it says both a simcha and mereyos. And before we said that the simcha we're talking about is only a kind of simcha, which is just a social gathering, but not a simcha of a chasana. Kashya. The Gemara doesn't answer this. The Gemara now brings another version to this entire halacha. Ameimer masni hachi. Ameimer learned this halacha as follows. Amar Rabba bar Bachana. Rabba bar Bachana is the one that said this, and he said, "Ulesimchas mereyos mutulikanes la'alter." That a person that's an oval for any relative, so then if it's stam a kind of a festive meal that friends are making together, and it's not a simcha of a chasana, he's allowed to go in there immediately. He doesn't even have to wait b'chlal. In fact, the Gemara on this, according to this version, the question was asked from another brayso where it says, "V'atanya l'simcha shloishim," that a person that's an oval on any relative, so to enter into a simcha, which is a chasana, he has to wait until after the shloishim. Ulemereyos shloishim, and also for any other festive meal that friends make together, he should also wait shloishim. He can't go in immediately. So how did Rabbi Bar Bachana say that for any festive meal he could just go in immediately? So the Gemara answers, "Lo kashya, this is not a question. Ha ba'arisusa, ha ba'puranusa." Very interesting concept. Arisusa means when you're coming to initiate this kind of a festive meal, inviting friends to come and join you. So in such a case, you can't go and initiate and go and join such a kind of a meal immediately if a person is still an oval, right at the beginning. Puranusa means if your friend had already made this festive meal for you, and now it came your turn to host this meal. They would host, different people would host meals for one another, and now you're paying back. Puranusa means you're paying back. Now this person is coming to, it's his chance to host this meal. In such a case, he's allowed to go and host that meal right away. He's not initiating this. It came his turn to host this meal. He is allowed la'alta right away to host this. Okay, another distinction between avelus on any relative or avelus on a father and mother. Akala mesim kulan, regarding any other relative, kaireya tefach. So the kriya is a tefach. Al aviv al imay, avelus on a father and a mother, achigala slibay. The kriya has to be enough that it reveals the person's chest. Amrabavo, Maikra, what's the source that the minimum amount of kriya is a tefach? Vayechsak David bibegodav, he held on to his garments, vayikroim, and he tore them. Veinachiza pachas mitefach, you're holding it on with your hands, and that's the size of a tefach. Akala mesim kulam, regarding any other relative that passes away, afilu lavish asara chalukin, person is wearing 10 layers of garments. Eine karaya ela elya, only has to tear the top layer. Al aviv al imay, on a father and a mother, karayas kulan, he has to tear all the layers of the garments that he's wearing. But vapikursusai eina markeves, to tear a garment which he wears as a head covering, that does not have to be torn. So the Gemara, echad ish ve'echad isha. The halacha of kriya applies both for a man and a woman. Rab Shimon ben Elazar explains there is a difference for the kriya of a woman, and that is ha'isha kairas as a tachten. A woman, when she does the kriya, so as we said, a kriya and a father and a mother has to be for all layers of garments. So when she tears the lower layer of the garment, so she tears that, and then she brings the kriya, puts it back in a way that it should cover her. And then she can tear the garment, the outer garment. So like this, so she remains tzniistic, for the sake of modesty. Another halacha, akala mesim kulam, regarding any other relative that passed away, rotza mavdul kamei sofish shaloi. If he wants, the kriya is done away from the seam of where the opening for the neck is. That's one pshat. There's two pshatim for this actually. One pshat is that a person when he does kriya, so a person can do kriya in such a way that it looks like that he's just expanding the opening of the neck. You don't really see the kriya. He has the opening in the neck and he just expands it. So if he wants, he can do kriya in a way that it's far away from the opening of the neck. If he wants, he doesn't have to separate from the opening of the neck, and the kriya can be done in such a way that it looks like he's just expanding the opening of the garment. Another pshat is a person could do kriya in such a way that the kriya is done in the middle of the garment, not by the seam of the garment. So you don't notice the kriya so much. If a person has a tear in the middle of a shirt somewhere, in the middle of a garment, the kriya is not so noticeable. If the kriya is from the edge of the garment, then the kriya is more noticeable. That's the two things over here. The safa, whether he does it by the edge of the garment or middle of the garment. Al aviv al imay, and a father and a mother, mavdil. So over here, he has to go away from the opening from the neck of the garment, and he has to tear in a way that it should be more noticeable. Rav Yudah says, in this there's no difference if it's for a relative or a father and mother. Kol kriya she'ena mavdil kame safa shaloi. Anytime a person does kriya and he doesn't do it further away from the opening of the neck, eina ela kera shal tiflus. So this kera is foolish. It's nothing. It doesn't accomplish anything because you can't notice that it's a kriya. Amar Rabavo said, my time with Rabbi Yehuda, what's the source for Rabbi Yehuda's opinion? The chsiv, because the pasuk says, Vayachzak b'bgadav, he held on to his garments, Vayikaram l'shnayim, and he tore them into two parts. So, l'shnayim kroim, the two parts that were torn into two pieces. So the drasha here is, Mimashma shanema vayikroim, it says that he tore the garments, any day she'en l'shnayim. Don't I understand that when you tear something, it becomes two? So why does it say two? It has to appear, it has to be clear that he's actually tearing it into two. Another halacha, kol ha-mesim, regarding any other mesim, when a person tears kriya, mesim kulon, shaylul, la'acha shiva. So after shiva, the person can pin it back up. He's not really properly sewing it, but he can pin it back up. Uma'acha la'acha shloishim. And then he can sew it properly after 30 days. Al aviv al imay, avelus on a father and mother, shayla la'achalamed, he could pin back up his garment after 30 days. Ve'enu ma'achaloilam, he could never sew it back properly forever. V'ha'isha, but regarding a woman, shayla la'sela alta, she's always allowed to pin it back up immediately. Mipnei kvaida, for her honor. For a woman, it's different that she's allowed to do it immediately. He said, Al kol ha-mesim, regarding all other relatives that passed away, ratza kareh biyad, the kriya can be done by hand, or ratza kareh bekeli, the kriya can be done with a utensil, with a razor, with a knife. Al aviv al imay, on a father and a mother, biyad, it has to be done by hand. Al kol ha-mesim kulam, regarding all other relatives, mibifnim, the kriya can be done on the inside, meaning a person, let's say, wears a overgarment, a coat, and he does the kriya covered under the coat. That's one pshat. Another pshat is, bifnim means he could do it privately in a room where no one else is present. Al aviv al imay, on a father and a mother, kareh mibachutz. He has to tear in a way outside, uncovered, and people can see, and also in front in public. Rav Chisda said, v'chein lenasi. The same is also regarding the halacha of kriya, regarding a nasi, as we said before, on a nasi that passes away. Everyone has to do kriya. It also has to be done the same like a father and a mother outside. Eisvei, the question was asked on this. It says, Nabraisa, lo yehushvu, lo aviv, lo imai, elo, lo ichvi bilvad. All the others that are mentioned here, this is a brayso. The Gemara is going to quote this later. We'll see. They are not compared to a father and a mother only regarding one halacha, that you're never allowed to sew it back properly. So my love, don't you think this means afilu l'nasi, that even a nasi, we don't compare the kriya of a nasi to a father and a mother regarding the halacha of sewing it back. And just like we don't compare the kriya of a nasi to a father and a mother regarding sewing it back, we also shouldn't compare the kriya of a nasi to a father and a mother regarding the fact that it has to be done openly and publicly. So the Gemara says, loy lebar menasi. Over there, this excludes a nasi. A nasi is a different story. In that brayso there, it talks about, let's say there was a av bezdin or a chacham or a sheshiva. Not a nasi. A nasi, the level of avelus and the kriya does have to be similar to a father and a mother. Gemara brings a story. Nesiya shachiv, there was a nasi that passed away. Amalei Rav Chisda, in our Gemara it says Rav Chanan Barabba. Barava that is, but the other girsa here that there is in the side of the Gemara is that he said to Rav Nachman Barami, Kofi Asisa, turn over a mortar, and v'kum Allah, get up on top of this mortar, higher up, and so everyone should see. V'achvi kriya alma. Everybody should see that when a nasi passes away, that everybody has to mourn his passing, and you tear kriya. Now the Gemara says, Al Chacham, when a Chacham in a city passes away, so this is a person that paskins halachas for people, he's not the Nasi, but he's a Chacham in the city where people ask him shailas, that's what Rashi here says. Chaylitz bimin. The kriya has to be done in such a way that it uncovers the right side of the person. Al Av Bezdin, regarding an Av Bezdin, mismail. So the kriya is done on the left side. Al Nasi mikanu mikan. By the kriya of a Nasi, the kriya is done from both sides, on the right and on the left. Masayim in B'tayv.